On the 13th of August, on the Army Forum exhibition, Russian Ministry of Defense has announced that they have signed a contract for delivery of additional TOS-1A systems made on T-80 chassis and T-90M tanks with Arena M hard kill active protection system, which is what we will talk about in this video. And when looking for the truth, it is important to eliminate any biases, which is why I am proud to present today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a website and app that gathers related articles from more than 50,000 sources around the world in one place so you can compare how different outlets cover the same story. Every story comes with a clear breakdown of the political bias, ownership, and headlines of the sources reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. For example, the UK recently signed a new defense pact with Germany. Ground News found more than 31 sources covering this, with barely 6% coming from conservative outlets. So without intentionally diversifying how you stay up to date, you could have easily missed this important story. Ground News also shows me reporting is coming from around the world, with most based in the UK, ensuring on-the-ground perspective. And by comparing coverage, I can see just how where an outlet is based affects their article's framing. But a feature I really like is the blind spot feed, which highlights stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. For example, if you lean left, you probably missed the story on IDF uncovering massive smuggling tunnel for vehicles on Gaza-Egypt border. And as someone deeply interested in the complexities of war, Ground News helps me cut through the noise by providing comprehensive reporting from diverse sources. It's essential for understanding such a nuanced issue. Go to ground.news/RedEffect or use the link in the video description to subscribe today. If you sign up through my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use to get unlimited access to all their features. I think Ground News is doing important work, and I hope you'll check them out. Arena is a pretty famous hard kill active protection system. It has been in development since the 90s, and there have been numerous promotional videos and pictures of the system, that it has actually managed to fool some people into believing that the system was actually in active service. In fact, there were reports about the current conflict in Ukraine saying how the Russian active protection systems are not working as they should because they are not stopping anti-tank rockets and missiles. Well, they can't stop them because they aren't being used. Some people were probably confused about that because T-90 tanks do have an active protection system. It's just that it is a soft kill system called Shtora. Soft kill systems don't actively engage the threat, but help the tank and the crew evade or mask themselves from the threat, such as the laser warning receivers on T-90M and T-90A tanks, when the tank is being lased by a laser rangefinder or laser guided weapons. Another big reason as to why people believe tanks like T-90M already had a hard kill active protection system is Wikipedia. Wikipedia, for some reason, lists the Arena system as part of the tank, but as I already explained, it isn't. It wasn't until last year that the patent for the T-90M tank equipped with Arena M active protection system came out. I didn't want to cover it back then because, well, it's just a patent. But now it seems like Russians are actually going to be installing these systems on their tanks. Well, at least T-90M tanks for now. One interesting thing we can see on the patent is that the tank will retain the side-mounted explosive reactive armor, so the installation of the system does not compromise the protection of the tank in case something does not get intercepted by the system, which is a good thing, and on top of that, it doesn't really change the silhouette of the tank either. But the problem is that they had to replace storage boxes with the APS system, which means that either the storage boxes either have to be moved somewhere, or that the tank will have reduced space for things on it. The side hull mounted storage boxes we saw not so long ago might have been developed for this purpose, but I honestly don't think this is the best place to mount the storage boxes on, because they can easily snag on stuff and fall off if there were any nearby explosions. Same how the bagged ERA was falling off the tanks all the time. It would be good that they at least make some better design, or at least some guides in front of the boxes to make it hard for them to snag on stuff. Now, how good is the actual Arena M active protection system? This system was first showcased in 2018 under the designation T-09A6 Arena E on a T-72B3 tank. Now the system has been designated T-09A6-1 Arena M. I'm saying this because we don't have actual data for the Arena M, but we do have for the Arena E. The change in the designation could indicate some changes, but because the numerical designation has just -1 added to it, I would assume the change is not really massive. According to available information, Arena E can intercept rockets, missiles, and heat shells that travel at speeds of up to 1000 meters per second and intercept them from 50 meters away. This means that the system is able to engage a lot of tank-fired heat shells, except for sub-caliber ones like MPAD, as well as pretty much any AT rocket or ATGM. But the 50-meter range means that it will not be able to intercept rockets fired from very close range like in urban scenarios, which can happen, and we have seen that happen in multiple conflicts, not just in Ukraine. But the main question is, can the system intercept top attack threats like Spike or Javelin? Well, I honestly can't give you a good answer for that. The promotional footage of the manufacturer for the Arena E system claims the system intercepts missiles, including the top attack ones, but that is the only reliable source of information for that claim, and it is kinda old. I couldn't find any other reliable source that would actually confirm that claim. There were some media articles that would mention it, or from some government official, but Russian government officials have claimed weird things in the past related to tanks that I don't believe anything they say should be taken for granted. There are some things about the system that could point to it being able to intercept top attack threats, but there are also some things that point to the opposite. First thing is that, based on what we see on the footage, is that the Arena M interceptors explode in two directions, downwards and upwards, or at least it seems that way. This could indicate the possibility that they were made to intercept any threat in the 360-degree hemisphere, but the problem to me are the radars. There isn't any radar on the tank that points upwards, and they need to detect the threat at least 50 meters away from the tank. I don't think a radar facing completely forward can detect the threat coming 50 meters from the top of the tank. There could be a possibility that the radar has the ability to track targets on the top, but I honestly don't know, because truth to be told, I'm not an expert in radars. I'm purely guessing here. Some people have taken the claim that the system has successfully been tested against captured Western AT weapons as proof that it would work against something like Javelin, but those claims are super vague and honestly don't mean much. I could see the system working against something like NLAW, because NLAW is still coming to the tank from the direction where a radar could easily pick it up, so something like NLAW shouldn't be a problem. But actual top attack like Spike or Javelin, I honestly have doubts about that. I would wait for any formal confirmation before drawing any conclusion. The biggest problem with this system is that it doesn't tackle the worst threat, the FPV drones. If these tanks get deployed, it is very likely that they would meet the same fate as many before them. So, unless they include some proper drone jamming equipment on the tanks, equipped with the hard kill systems, they would just be wasting money and resources on installing the APS systems, in my honest opinion. Biggest problem is that the system does not allow for any cages to be installed on the tanks equipped with it, since the system launches the interceptors upwards into the air, so there can't be anything blocking the top of the turret, and placing cages on the side or the front would interfere with the radars. Therefore, you can't really protect the tank against drones in the same cheap fashion as they are doing right now. They need some proper anti-drone protection if they don't want to be losing these tanks. It is actually surprising to me that Russians are adopting the systems now, because back in 2020, they announced that the Arena M system will be adopted by 2025, and that in 2025 they should start installing it on the tanks. And they are actually on time for that. Russians being on time. That is really the most surprising thing about this. But that would be all. If you like my content, you can support me on Patreon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a nice day.